Unmissable news for Packers fans. The Packers announced their 53-man starting roster for 2023. 3 undrafted rookies were eliminated. The Green Bay Packers officially announced their 53-man starting roster on Tuesday, just minutes after the league-wide deadline expired. 3 undrafted rookies made the roster, which should take the Packers' consecutive seasons with an undrafted rookie on the roster in Week 1 to a 19-year streak when they faced the Chicago Bears. The 3 players in the mix to help extend that streak are running back Emmanuel Wilson, receiver Malik Heath, and outside linebacker Brenton Cox Jr., all of whom have excelled in the preseason. You can find the full Packers roster below, as well as some breakdowns of the team's picks. Packers 2023 53-player roster. QB, 2 Jordan Love and Sean Clifford. RB, 3 Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, and Emmanuel Wilson. WR, 6 Christian Watson, Romeo Dew, Jaden Reed, Malik Heath, Samori Toure, and Dontavian Wicks. Tight end/fullback, 3 Luke Musgrave, Josiah DeGuara, and Tyler Kraft. OL, 11 David Bakhtiari, Elton Jenkins, Josh Myers, John Runyon Jr., Zach Tom, Rashid Walker, Yosh Nijman, Royce Newman, Sean Ryan, Caleb Jones, and Luke Tenuta. DL, 6 Kenny Clark, TJ Slayton, Devontae Wyatt, Colby Wooden, Carl Brooks, and Jonathan Ford. OLB, 6 Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, Kingsley Enagbare, Lucas Van Ness, Justin Hollins, and Brenton Cox Jr. ILB, 5 Devondre Campbell, Quay Walker, Isaiah McDuffie, Eric Wilson, and Tarek Carpenter. CB, for Jair Alexander, Rasul Douglas, Kayshawn Nixon, and Carrington Valentine. SAF, 5 Darnell Savage, Rudy Ford, Jonathan Owens, Anthony Johnson Jr. K, 1 Anders Carlson. Q, 1 Daniel Whalen. Offense. Many people believe the Packers would only keep 2 running backs on their 53-man roster, as they have in the recent past, but General Manager Brian Gutekunst must have seen something from preseason team leader Emmanuel Wilson. Wilson received approval from Patrick Taylor. Taylor is a better pass blocker and special team, but a less dynamic runner than Wilson. 2 rookie draft picks were released by the Packers in offensive ability positions. First up is running back Lou Nichols, who was released with an injury designation that will likely lead to an injury deal. The second is receiver Grant Dubose, who, like Nichols, was also chosen in the 7th round of the draft in April. Guard Royce Newman, who has struggled after playing the most snaps of any offensive player in his 2021 rookie campaign, survived the cuts today. He was a popular name to drop, based on the 53-man roster projections, but he's sticking around to provide interior depth in a team that has a true center and 3 true guards currently on the roster. Defense. The Packers retain 12 scrimmage linebackers on the roster, split evenly between defensive linemen and outside linebackers. That's a lot of non-specialty teams playing with bodies to hold, especially with just 3 tight ends, but both position groups are filled with young players on long, cheap contracts. Players on the roster bubble who entered today were backup nose tackle Jonathan Ford, a 2022 7th-round pick, and backup outside linebacker Brenton Cox Jr., an undrafted rookie. Perhaps the biggest surprise of the day, from a numerical standpoint, is that Green Bay retained just 4 cornerbacks. At some point, Eric Stokes, who was officially placed on the disabled list today, will be added to the group. However, since Stokes is on the PUP roster to start the season, he will not be able to play for at least the first month of the regular season. The outsider at the safety position was Tarvarius Moore, who was dropped today with an injury designation. If Moore goes through the waivers, he'll be back on injured reserve where the Packers can offer him an injury deal to become an unrestricted free agent. Once he's healthy, Moore could re-sign with Green Bay either on the team's active roster or training roster. Special teams. The Packers currently do not draft a long snapper, as the plan is to re-sign Matt Orzech tomorrow. Orzech is not subject to waivers because he is an invested veteran. This change allows Green Bay to follow the league's injured reserve rules. If a player is placed on injured reserve before the deadline, that player will not be eligible to return to the team during the regular season. This window ends on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, it's possible for the Packers to hold a player they want to return from the injured reserve, say tackle Luke Tenuta, for a single day and then begin the process of trading him on the 53-man roster for Orzech after the waivers are processed tomorrow.